Hey everybody. Today we're going to talk about a modification that we actually did years ago. So we actually didn't film it when we did it. We weren't doing YouTube then. Had thought about doing YouTube and decided we weren't going to. But it's come up in conversation a couple times. We had somebody just ask about it on one of our other videos. They commented, and actually I just did this for somebody, a friend and fellow Airstreamer, a couple weeks ago. And it's a great modification. It's easy to do, and it's really something that if you've got this style of AC, you're gonna need it. Alright, so first up, if your AC vents look like this video's for you. If you've got one of the newer units with one of the Colemans like that they're putting in as of like 2023, hey, thanks for tuning in, but this one's not really gonna be of much use to you. So we'll get started. So what I'm talking about is replacing the little machine screws that hold on the AC return vents. Airstream, for whatever reason, decided they weren't even going to use sheet metal screws for this. It's literally just they drilled a hole through the aluminum skin inside on your ceiling and just ran in some small little machine screws. They work, but as part of routine maintenance, you've got to clean your air filters just like you do at home. And I mean, after a couple times of removing those screws, you're going to start to see them loosen up and they're going to start to strip. And with us, I mean, we've got the 2 dogs we travel with. We are cleaning our filters a lot. The dogs, I don't know how they have any hair left. So when we looked into this, NoLox makes a great kit to do this, gives you everything you need. Unfortunately, they were out of stock when we were looking to do this. So I went ahead and pieced together my own kit. So I'll give links below to NoLox. I'll also give links to the parts that I use to put together our kit. It's a couple of simple pieces. It's not hard. There is one or two, maybe you could call them specialty tools that you're gonna need for this, but it's not expensive and it is well worth it. So let's jump right in with what you're gonna need. All right, so what are you gonna need? You're gonna need a drill, because we're gonna use this step bit to actually enlarge the holes that Airstream has from the factory for their little machine screws, because we're gonna install jack nuts. And what jack nuts are, this one here, they actually give you the ability to add a threaded surface into a thin sheet of metal, like what we're dealing with the ceiling. And so to install this, you're also going to need a molly tool. There's some other tools that you can use for installing jack nuts. This is by far the easiest for these small ones. If you get into bigger ones, that's a different story. But this is just like what you would use to install one of those expanding mollies into drywall at your house. So you're gonna need this. You're gonna need a couple of thumb screws of your choice. You just need to make sure to match the size of the threads on your jack nuts. So this is 632 in our case. So that's what these thumb screws are, because this is what's gonna replace the screws that Airstream uses. So you don't need a tool to remove these anymore. You could also just put in a flathead screw. It looks really nice, but by going into this jack nut, it's gonna give you that extra bite that you're gonna need. And then finally, you're gonna be drilling into metal over your head, so make sure to use some safety glasses. A shop vac or a vacuum of some kind is nice to have, because you're gonna have metal shavings on the ground, and it's just easy cleanup. You can try the paper bowl method, where you put a hole through a paper bowl and put it around the drill and try to catch the shavings that way. I've had limited success with that, so I just used the shop vac. But yeah, let's go ahead and we'll start talking about what we're gonna do and show you. All right, since we've already installed this ourselves, I can't really do the install again, so I've got a handy dandy piece of cardboard. It may look like a protein shake box, but for today, it's our ceiling. It's just upside down. And, you know, I made a cutout that matches the ceiling cutout. And it's not that clean of a cutout, but frankly, neither is the one that Airstream did anyways. So, picture this on your ceiling. You've got your little screw holes right there. That's where the machine screws thread into, and that's what strips. And we're gonna enlarge these holes and place a jack nut in there instead. So by doing this, it's actually gonna let you see what happens on the back end. So the first part of this is to grab your step bit, and our jack nuts are sized at 5/16. So that means we need to drill a 5/16 hole for this to fit into. And the nice part about the step bit is when going through metal or a solid surface, it cuts in stages. So for us, we need to get down to this third stage that looks relatively well used already to get to our 5/16 hole. So this will fit. So, I mean, obviously you'd be doing this above your head. I'm gonna be doing this above our counter and not putting holes in it, because I'm sure Francis...
Use the little hole between the two.
I figured you would freak out if I did that. All right. So, we're upside down. We're gonna put our step bit right into the hole, and I'm gonna go slow. 1, 2. Obviously, if you're going through metal, run the drill a little faster, and then it'll cut through at stages. So we've got our hole, and this is where our jack nut's gonna fit right in there once we install it. So we'll take this out. To install a jack nut, what we're gonna do, and the NoLox kit comes with a couple of screws. I've got links to the screws. This is a 1.25 inch button head. It works nice in the Molly tool. You're just gonna need something that's long enough to thread into your jack nut, because you want it to get all the way through and get a good bite, but still be long enough. Let's see if we can show this here. When this goes in and we pull the trigger on this, see how it pulls back? We're gonna get that just seated kind of nice and snug right there. I'm gonna push this into the hole. Now I'm gonna lift this up so you can see what happens. As I pull the trigger, it's gonna continue to pull that screw, and it's gonna compress the jack nut up against the back of the aluminum ceiling. And then there's a trigger right here. It releases. Unscrew your screw, and now you have a threaded surface that you can screw in and out of that's not going to strip. So here's the back side. You can see the jack nut's got 3 little legs that stick out and grabs the back surface. What this is really nice for is in the case of some of the cuts on the Airstream vents, the screw hole may get really close to the edge, and when you widen it, you'll actually blow this wall out. I can show you on one of ours. I've got some pictures I'll put up. Because this grabs in 3 points, you can actually rotate these little legs so that they're grabbing around the blown out portion, and it'll still work. That's the nice part about jack nuts. They work great for thin substrates. Something like a riv nut that you might hear about, those expand, instead of collapsing, they expand out. So they work great for thicker pieces of metal or thicker surfaces that you're trying to add threads to. Just a little thing in case you hear them used interchangeably. All right, so just for an example, I went ahead, I drilled this hole, and I cut out a section of material here, just like you would see. like I said, in our case where we had one of our screw holes that was just really close to the edge. So when I expanded it, it kind of blew this wall out. Well, the nice part with a jack nut, if you take this, make sure, you know, one of your 3 legs isn't lined up with this. So in this case, I'm going to span it with these 2. Get this loaded into my Molly tool. I'm going to put this right here. And then go ahead and expand that. And release. Let's take a look on the back side. You see these legs are spanning this gap. So it's still got all 3 points of contact, even though this surface isn't solid all the way around. So if you're installing yours and you happen to notice that, just make sure, watch those leg placement. So we've got our thumb screws, and they're a number 6 32 thread size, which matches our jack nut. So as far as installation goes, it's just as easy as threading them in and threading them out by hand, no tools needed, and it's not going to strip. So this will last you for years, just like ours has. So yeah, so now when it comes time to clean our filters, you know, it's no tools needed. You know, maybe Francis has me do it because I can reach them easier, but it's, you know, it's really straightforward. I just like to get them all started, and then I'll just snug them up. But yeah, that's it. Really straightforward. If you're thinking about doing it, highly recommend it. If you have this type of AC and you haven't thought about doing it, I highly recommend it. So yeah, if you like this type of content, go ahead, give us a like and subscribe. It helps us out, and we'll see you down the road.